And now broadcasting from the EFX Sports Studio, it's ESPN EFX Sports Radio with Dr. Jeff Galini.
Well, welcome to another episode of EFX Sports Radio Show. My name is Dr. Jeff Galini, and I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Brian Andrews.
How's it going, Jeff?
Not too bad. You know, since we had 60 degrees yesterday, we're almost where you were today.
It's almost like summer for you guys. Geez, you must have been sweating.
And speaking of sweating, we're going to talk about hydration today.
Well, look at there.
Yeah, kind of set you up for that one, didn't I?
Yeah, honestly, I swear I didn't even think about it.
So why is it important to stay hydrated? First of all, hydration is essentially the principle of getting water into your system. You know, our bodies are about 60% water. Every function in our body depends on water. So that's why this particular show is about why is it important to stay hydrated. Again, you know, every cell, every organ, right down to the fact that, you know, maintaining your body's temperature is part of what water does. You know, removing waste, lubricating joints. So water is essentially needed for good health.
Oh, there's no question about it. You know, this is one of those subjects where it's like on the surface it's not real sexy. It doesn't sound real cool to talk about it. Hey, you know, I mean, everybody wants the high-end performance products like, say, what we manufacture and offer to the public. But my goodness, this is one of the most basic of basics when it comes to, you know, growth, recovery, performance, just feeling good.
Absolutely. And, you know, this is something that is not just for adults. I mean, this is everything from infants up to, you know, the elderly. So, Brian, how does your body lose water?
Well, you know, the one that everyone forgets, which is the most obvious, is the largest organ in the body. And you ask people that question, like, oh, your liver or whatever. No, it's your skin.
Yes.
So you're going to be sweating. I mean, just being alive, that's a process. It's what your kidneys are doing. They're filtering toxins out of your blood. But again, you've got to have that fluid in there. Your body, all the cells, your blood is mostly water. And again, people forget that. Muscles, I want to grow bigger biceps, whatever. That muscle tissue, take the fluid out of it. Literally, it's about 60 to 72% fluid. That's what people forget.
Yeah, I mean, even breathing, you know, you're losing water, let alone if you're going to go exercise where you actually sweat. And, you know, the warmer the weather, the more moisture that you need. You know, there's a few signs. If you're wondering, well, how do I know if I'm hydrated or dehydrated? You know, here are some common symptoms or signs that you can look at. Little or no urine. Now, we're going to just, you know, talk right here. You know, we're not holding back the verbiages or being politically correct. Or if your urine is much darker than usual. Unless you just took a Vita-Drive and you have the neon
Right.
stream.
Yeah, the vitamin B12 in there is incredible.
Yeah. But typically, you know, a darker urine means more things are concentrated that are coming out, so it's darker. If you get dry mouth, here's one that most people don't think about is sleepiness or fatigue. My goodness, water. Obviously, things like extreme thirst would be a sign of dehydration. You know, headaches. Being confused. Here's another one that a lot of times people will say, man, I feel dizzy today. And I'll go, have you drank enough water? You know, dizziness or lightheaded. And, of course, you know, no tears if you are trying to cry and you just can't get tears out. You don't want to wait until you notice these symptoms. You want to try to stay hydrated. But if you do notice these, you want to get some water in immediately. You always want to prevent, you know, things from happening. Prevention is an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, as my grandma used to say.
Oh, absolutely. You know, and just literally as a coincidence, just yesterday, my 8-year-old daughter, right around, you know, dinner time, something like that, was complaining that she had a headache and she felt funny. It was the first thing we asked her, well, what have you had to drink today? Literally, this poor little girl had a little bit of milk at breakfast, you know, some cereal or something like that. And then she tells us she hadn't had anything else all day other than, you know, just maybe some sipping on something at lunch.
Wow.
So the immediate thing we had her do was to start drinking some water and hydrate her little body. But that was the telltale sign. And like you said, the key when it comes to hydration issues is you typically, when you start feeling thirsty, that's too little too late. I mean, you've got to keep fluids constantly going through your body.
Yeah, and for some people, I mean, that is a good indicator, but not for most. And the older we get, we don't think about drinking. I know athletes, some of them, especially in the gym, are carrying around gallons of water. They're a little more visual sometimes, but again, most people we kind of forget about it. So who is at a higher risk of dehydration? Obviously, people who exercise. The higher the intensity, the more you sweat, the quicker you're going to dehydrate. That's why it's always important to drink before, during, and after, exercise. If you're sick, or you have some medical condition, you're normally going to lose more fluids. And as I mentioned, older adults are at a higher risk. I know most elderly people, they don't think about drinking. They'll have a cup of coffee in a day, and that might be it,
That's right. That's right. And then again, they wonder why they feel bad. I mean, it is the ultimate performance enhancer. Forget, your pre-workout or any of that stuff. You've got to have that water.
Yeah, and like you said, don't use thirst as a sign of dehydration, because as we get older, we just aren't thirsty. But we've got to make it a practice, to get that water in.
Well, and I think it also comes down to whenever you're asking your body to do more than the norm, and I'm talking about even when you're on a diet, that is a key time to be drinking as much water or fluid as you can absolutely stand, because it fills your gut and gives it volume, so it helps to stave off the hunger.
And a lot of times too, when we are hungry, that is a sign of dehydration. So a good sign is to drink some water, and if that hunger goes away, you were dehydrated. If it doesn't, well, you just got a little bit of hydration, and you are hungry.
Yeah. No kidding.
But anyhow, it's really important. So I think when I talk about hydration, I think the biggest question that comes up is, how much do I have to drink? I don't know. I've read this on the internet, or John Brown told me I needed 32 gallons of water. First of all, way too much water is dangerous. I think there was a few years ago, didn't some girl die from drinking too much water in some contest or something?
Oh, no, that's actually happened a few times. I mean, there was a poor little girl, I think that she was, being abused by her parents, and they forced her to drink a bunch of water, and it actually, when your body can't eliminate it fast enough, it can actually do something to your brain and cause damage, and then literally she went into a coma and died. But you're right. The other thing is people use, say, certain drugs to pull water out of their body, diuretics as they're called, right, in the bodybuilding world, let's say. Wow, and you get all that stuff out of balance, that's a recipe for disaster.
It is. So my basic rule is the 8x8. 8-ounce glasses of water a day. Now, obviously, everyone is going to be different. Some may need a little less, some may need more. But, if you're just looking at, man, where do I start at? And you notice how I didn't say you need 64 ounces a day, because you need to drink it throughout the day. You don't want to get all your fluid in the morning and then don't drink anything the rest of the day, because you're going to get dehydrated. And that's why I also said, it's important to drink water before you train or exercise or, the game. During and after, because that is where you are going to lose most of your fluid. How many people in sports do you see cramp up, whether it's stomach cramp, knee cramp, leg cramp, calf cramp? Most of the time, that's just a water hydration situation.
Well, you're exactly right. And since we have about a minute to our break, so before that, I just wanted to hit on that point, like you said. That should be such a basic part of their pre-game, pre-workout, whatever ritual, is to make sure that if there's anything going on, they are well hydrated. Because don't forget, a lot of, say, the pre-workout products out there have caffeine, which can actually be a diuretic and dehydrate you. So you're kind of going in reverse from what we're just sitting here talking about.
Absolutely. So, get yourself a water bottle, and you should always carry water around. That's what I do. I make sure, I like bottled water, so it's easy for me to, get in my 17 ounces in each meal. I know it's not best to take it before a meal, but again, we got to remember, right?
Well, and don't forget, too, if you're on a diet, though, that's a good little trick that a lot of people don't know, is it fills your gut with volume that you're not going to be quite as hungry or crammed down as much, especially when you're dieting.
Absolutely.
Well, hey, we need to go ahead and go to break here. When we get back, let's actually talk about not just how much, but what you should actually drink.
Sounds good.
Hey everybody, I'm Billy Gordon. I'm one of the coaches for the Heights Wrestling Club. I just wanted to take a minute and talk to you about EFX Sports and what their products have done for me and my wrestlers and the athletes that I lead. 6 months ago, I got introduced to EFX Sports and I immediately started using them myself. The results have been nothing short of amazing. My body fat and weight have come down drastically. My strength has increased. If you get the opportunity, I highly recommend you give it a shot.
This is Dr. Jeff Galini of All American Pharmaceutical. I'm sure you've been seeing our national brand EFX Sports featuring carbolin and crealkaline all around the state lately. Our supplements are formulated for pros to high schoolers to just the average gym goer and are all about improving your game. You can find EFX Sports in Billings at Yellowstone Fitness, Lucky's, Bonanza's Health Food, Granite Fitness, and GNC, just to mention a few.
EFX! Do you know how to properly use carbohydrates to ignite your performance in the field and in the gym? You will now, thanks to this free book by EFX Sports. The Carb User's Guide for Maximum Performance reveals why omitting carbohydrates from your diet can totally crush your gains. Ever wonder how many grams you need for your specific sport? Not anymore. We give you the critical number you need to dominate your competition. You'll even discover the super carb that's taking the athletic world by storm. You must try it to believe it. Go to getcarbolin.com/carb guide today and get your copy absolutely free. Once again, it's getkarbolin.com/CARBGUIDE.
Well, welcome back to EFX Sports Radio Show. We're talking about the importance of hydration. And we've been talking primarily about water, but I want to talk a little bit about, Brian, besides water, I mean, what else do we consume during the day that would hydrate us?
Well, a lot of, say, fruits and vegetables, especially fruits, do have water. Again, that's what dehydration is when it comes to those types of food products. You can get dried fruits and stuff in your store, but if you're consuming a lot of that, you're getting water. Of course, there's milk, a lot of the juices, which you got to be careful. A lot of those have tremendous amounts of sugar, which can kind of whack out your hydration levels. I think one that's debatable is going to be, say, coffee or tea. And again, that's because of the caffeine content. My rule of thumb would be to tell the average person, look, whatever you're drinking right now, if you would increase that by a minimum of 25%, whatever that number is, you're going to be much better overall. Because like you said, that whole 64-ounce thing, based on who? 180-pound person, 150, 280? That doesn't even make sense.
And it's interesting, you mentioned coffee and tea. I know people that all they drink is coffee in the morning and sodas all day long. And I had mentioned to one of them, you need to drink some water. And they're like, well, that's what this is all water. So, yes, you are getting water if you drink coffee, tea, and soda or pop, depending on where you come from. But like Brian said, all those chemicals, the acids, the caffeine, they work as a diuretic, so you actually can get dehydrated if that's all you drink. You have to take in water on top of, these other beverages. And like Brian said with, fruit juices, yes, they're 90% water, but again, you got all those calories and all that sugar. So you don't want to depend on that as your primary hydration source. Can you hydrate or maintain hydration by having that drink? Yes, but it's not healthy for you. So what about?
And again, it's better than nothing, right?
Well, yeah, but I would still say don't take that attitude. Drink some water, man. You got to get some good old
I'm saying
H2O.
It's not. Don't make that your primary. Make it secondary.
Exactly. Now, what about again? We're looking at all these hydration, and when we see that word hydration, I think people don't equate it to drinking water, what we're talking about. When you see hydration, I think the sports drink companies have convinced us that you need to hydrate with their product.
Oh, absolutely. But again, you got to look at what is it you're hydrating with. Now, yes, they're made with water mostly, but most of the drinks that most people would be familiar with, if you just look at what's in them, the number one thing outside of the sodium and electrolytes type of portion is sugar. Now, that's a whole different animal and how your body processes it.
Yeah, and I'm just going to say it. Gatorade I don't use. I'm sorry. To market it as a hydration drink, yes, okay, you do hydrate because there's water in there, but you don't need all that sugar. And, shame on people for recommending that as the ultimate hydration drink when, in fact, sugar is the number one cause of obesity and most of the ailments that arise from sugar. So we just don't need sugar. And I know there's this big debate between, artificial this and sugars. Hey, at the end of the day, too much sugar is not good for you. So my choice of a hydration sports drink, Brian, can you guess what that is?
Drum roll, please.
There's only one, Carbolite. I mean, you can't get much better than that. I mean, waxy maize is not a hydration drink. That's a thickening agent when you're making your gravy at Thanksgiving. So if you want to thicken gravy, well, I guess you could get hydrated from gravy, right?
Well, no. Well, that's the cool part about Carbolite is you're mixing it in water. So you're getting that component, but now the portion that most people that would be a sugar is ours is not sugar. It's actually a complex carb that your body can use as true fuel. It's not a stimulant, but you're getting the best of both worlds when you use that particular drink.
And that's why we recommend that, you mix it with 20 ounces of water, 15 to 20 minutes before exercise, game, training, because, again, we know the importance of hydration. When you are training longer than 30 minutes, you need to take a Carbolite drink with your hydration, with your water, because if not, you're going to run out of gas, and that's a whole nother story for another day. But at the end of the day, we're showing you how to hydrate with that product. Now, the second category that sometimes people get confused, I think we have to separate sports drinks from energy drinks.
Oh, you beat me to it. That was exactly where I was going to go next, too, is you see, and it just blows me away again because it's prevalent and what people know. People walk into the gym or, right before a big tournament or game that they're getting ready to, they want to give 100% in. Drinking, the 7-Eleven or whatever your convenience store is called, right in that cabinet, get 2 for $4, guzzling those things down. What a huge mistake.
Yeah, they're caffeine, man. I mean, you got to run to the bathroom. I mean, you're again, excretion is another prominent way that you're getting rid of water. Now, that's an important part of, getting rid of waste. But again, you're dehydrating yourself and you've got to drink water back. Drinking those so-called energy drinks, they're only good for one thing. If you need some caffeine and you need to get up and get going, I'm not opposed to a little bit of caffeine. But keep in mind, that is not what you want to drink primarily before, as you said, exercise. And you notice that they don't put them in a 20-ounce bottle anymore. Most of these energy drinks are, these little shots, 2 ounces. I mean, so you're getting no water at all.
Right. And again, like you said, yeah, I mean, let's face it, a legal, moderately safe stimulant like a caffeine, which is, in coffee or any of these types of drinks, is okay. I mean, it's been proven to increase performance. The key is the long-term aspect. If I'm going to go out on a football field for 2-3 hours, I got to have more than that little hit.
Yeah. And parents, do not let your kids drink energy drinks. I'm going to say it again. Do not give your kids or let your kids drink energy drinks. They do not need caffeine. They don't even need sugar, but let alone caffeine. I mean, it's terrible for them. Burns their receptor sites. Again, caffeine is a drug, used properly by adults. Again, there's a purpose in it, but these kids, they don't need that kind of stuff. They've got to fuel their bodies naturally to get their energy levels up.
Well, hey, let's do this before we close out our show. Hey, let's get some big tips here straight from the man himself, Dr. J. What do you think, so people can have some usable points to walk away with?
All right, here are my tips for staying hydrated. Number 1, keep a bottle of water with you during the day. As I said, you don't want to just drink your water at your mealtime. You should be hydrating throughout the day. So you get yourself a water bottle, keep it filled with water, and, drink that in between meals. It's very easy to accommodate that. A lot of people say they just don't like water. Well, if you live in California, I can see what you're saying. Don't drink the tap water. But Montana isn't too bad. But if you don't like it, bottled water is good tasting. Mix it with like some lemon or lime, lime juice. It kind of makes it taste better. Number 3 is make sure before you exercise you are drinking. You are drinking during. That's why they put water fountains in the gyms. And then you're drinking immediately after. So if you're going to take a protein drink, and you fill it up with 20 ounces of water, I'm cool with that, for hydrating afterwards, or if you're going to do a carbolin drink. When you feel hungry, drink some water. Like Brian said, sometimes just filling up, if you're trying to lose some weight, you're really dehydrated, and thirst is often confused with hunger. So, that will help you kind of stay full. If you have trouble remembering to drink water, then drink on a schedule. And what I mean by a schedule is I'm going to drink 16-ounce bottle in the morning. I'm going to drink, at lunch, midday, afternoon, evening. So you always kind of have a schedule. And drink water when you go to the restaurant. It's free.
Yeah, hey, there you go. Yeah, money saving tip too.
Yeah, that's only a money saving. I had to throw that in there.
Well, and right in closing, I wanted to add to that too. One thing we didn't talk about, and let's not get into, we could do a whole nother show on what's actually in the water you drink. That's why you're talking about bottled water for convenience. But if you don't have some kind of filter maybe at your house, because you may be drinking a lot of water over time, who knows what's in that? And like someone told me one time, if you don't have a filter, you are the filter.
Oh,
That's kind of a scary thought when you think about it.
Yeah, we'll have to do a whole show on water quality maybe sometime.
There you go. All right. Well, hey, I think that is a fantastic way to close out today's show. I hope everybody got some useful tips. And if you have any more questions, feel free to contact us, man. That's what we're here for.
Sounds good. Well, thank you, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks for listening to ESPN EFX Sports Radio. Be sure to check out EFX Sports online at aaefx.com. And don't forget to check out EFX Sports supplements everywhere fitness products are sold.